So Deepa will be inquiring about sadness today.
Yes.
Yeah. So you know that this call is being recorded, and we might end up sharing this with others also, and dive deeper further with others on the subject, on the topic. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Yes. So the first sort of question that was coming up around sadness is like, is sadness an emotion or is it like a feeling?
What is the
Like
difference? What is the difference between emotion and feeling?
I'm considering feeling as um, a physiological sensation that comes up, any set of sensations that come up, and they are perceived, and then life sort of continues. The whole feeling.
You mean the
perceiving.
physiological sensation from physical experience?
Yes.
Is the feeling? Okay.
Yes, is the feeling. And emotion would be from the perception.
From the idea.
From the idea, yeah. A feeling that's turned into an emotion through ideation.
Beautiful. A feeling, if gets stagnated at the perceptory domain, then it comes back as an emotion. It's a beautiful way. Yeah, yeah. Beautiful identification, I mean. Like not appreciating the emotion, but yeah. Yeah, please.
So, yeah, I mean, that was the first question that came up, that, you know, is sadness, is it a feeling or is it an emotion? Like whether it is created through the perception, or can it also come from like physical experience? So, I mean, the example sort of that was coming to mind was of babies or of children whose neural and psychological domain is still developing. Like a baby, when it doesn't see its mother or the mother leaves, it starts crying.
Yeah.
And I'm taking that physical response as being sadness, of course. But is that, you know, is that sadness? And is that then a feeling or is it an emotion then when it shows up like that in a baby? Or maybe when a child gets hurt, let's say they fall down or something, a particular child may respond to it in by crying. So is that sadness? So I was
conventionally, what is sadness? Sadness is, I think, like without any physical experience also, if somebody is sensing a pain, that's what is the sadness conventionally. I'm not sure. What is your proposal in that? Like, what is the sadness conventionally?
Conventionally, yeah, conventionally it would be seen as, I mean, yeah, if we take away the physical response, the physical aspect comes in as a response, like either through crying or through maybe drooped shoulders or through like a drooping of facial features, a curling up sort of. There's a response in the physical body and facial and bodily posture. Internally, yeah, I guess it would be subjective how it is like physiologically experienced.
Yeah, so can we explore something? Just it's coming to my understanding that can we explore the duration of this sensation, like how long that sensation sustains? Based on that, perhaps we'll be able to identify whether it is coming from the physical experience or some thoughts or idea. Can we identify that?
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I can see then in the baby or the child, like let's say when the mother returns, the baby will see it and it will probably calm down.
Yeah. So for baby, you know, as you said that there is no neural much structure to understand the aspect. So for baby, mother is the source of food. Source of food. So as the source of food goes away, it senses a threat, physical threat. It senses a physical threat that I might not be getting the food when I need it. Because this entity, this individual, or this particular existence is the source of my food. Maybe from her body, or she procures and give it to me.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So that's absolutely a physical reason. When a baby cries, so this we might end up identifying this as a sadness, and a slightest ideation also is there, that if the mother goes away from this room to that room, that doesn't mean that the food is going away, just the baby is imagining about it and crying.
Yes.
No, that's because of the lack of maturity in the neuron level. That this going of my mother to from this room to that room is just for a few moments. That understanding is not developed yet in the child. So let's keep the children sadness in a bucket of physical experience. But sadness largely is understood as there is nothing externally happening, but I am depressed, I am feeling bad. So the duration I was actually.
Duration, yes. I'm thinking of trying to think of examples with respect to this duration to understand. I mean, maybe what comes up is, let's say, the death of an individual, maybe a close person or a friend or a relative or parents.
Death of a beloved person.
Yes, death of a beloved person. And so it could evoke a physical response and a physiological response when it could. I mean, when the beloved person passes away. But there's also a possibility where it doesn't. I have seen where people, in a family, if the mother passes, all the children, if there are multiple children, they may or may not respond with sadness. Some might see and experience the loss, the life passing away in that individual, but they may not experience the sadness of it or the grief. So
what they experience instead of grief or sadness?
Understanding of, I'm assuming, understanding of life, and that life in that person, an individual, is past because of their age or because of certain conditions. So they have that understanding. They can see the loss. I mean, they can see the lack of the person there. And maybe it might evoke unpleasant feeling. As a result of physical.
So death is actually a sudden absence of physical existence.
Yes.
Who I used to connect, relate with.
Yes.
So that absence will definitely give an unpleasant experience for some time, till that vacuum which is created is again filled back.
Yes.
So that filling will happen eventually, because physical things will again occupies that particular vacuum. So that unpleasant state might also can be termed as a sadness, which is triggered from the physical experience.
I think that's where I'm not sure. Could it be if the physical experience is bringing unpleasantness, but maybe here the duration comes into picture. If you notice that, and by itself, the sensation would change and move. But if at that point where there is ideational impact of relationship, let's say, or maybe attachment with that person,
or understanding of the death, there could be a lot of ideas around the death.
Oh.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's also possible.
I think
yes.
Sadness around death of anyone happens. Sadness means ideated sadness, which is the duration of the sadness is maybe expanded. Long sustains a lot. So that happens probably due to the lack of understanding of death. Like, what is death? Largely death is identified as a negative thing, but it is a progression of life. Ultimately, everybody has to experience death.
Yeah.
This identification, and then my beloved person or whoever it is, death may happen at any time for anyone.
Yes.
This is also another fact. So
yes.
Death is perennial for everyone. This is the first fact. And death of anyone can happen at any point in time, because we don't know what is going on with him and what that individual is confronting. Maybe an accident or murder or whatsoever.
Yeah.
So death can happen for anyone at any point in time. That also is identified. Just because of this particular irrational attachment, what we start calling as love, that is definitely not love.
Yeah.
Is it love? I don't know. We might go away from the topic.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and this maybe extends like to maybe even like sadness and loss, I feel are maybe connected. Like here it is the loss of a person, but maybe in another scenario it could be the loss of like the like sort of oneself, in the sense that the relationship with oneself, like maybe you thought you were something and you're not that, so the loss of that image of yourself,
yes,
which could create sadness. So, or loss of a thing, even like it could be even your own. I mean, like let's say my own camera, I lose it. I could actually feel sad because of the relationship with that entity, whether thing, person, relationship, oneself.
Yeah. So there, can we go deeper into exploring the specific dependency on that individual? On that individual also, there could be physical dependency. That my partner cooks for me. If she dies today, then who will cook for me tomorrow?
Yes.
That's a specific physical dependency. That also might trigger sadness.
Yeah. Like if actually, it is a specific dependency. Yeah. I mean, yeah, even on one's self-image, I can see that for myself also. Like if it's if I perceive that I need to be a certain image of myself, then that is also a specific dependency, that if it's not fulfilled, then my life apparently cannot continue.
Yeah.
So, or a thing. So yeah.
That's definitely an imagination, right? Life continues.
Yes, life continues.
Yeah.
With or without that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, life does continue. So maybe if we extend it to a extreme case, let's say of food, because food is a need. And if someone experiences the loss of food where they cannot access food, then it would still, if they have, even if it's a need, it cannot be labeled as a specific dependency, because
one can explore, can explore other sources.
Yes.
Because still you are alive, you can act and you will act.
Yeah. And it would also deplete one's energy. If it is perceived in this manner with sadness, it would deplete that energy to not have that available to find and to explore other possibilities.
Yes. So the specific dependency will create a vicious cycle in that individual, which will keep on zapping the energy, which will eventually restrict that individual to explore the other routes of the other sources of food.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So it, I mean, definitely depletes energy.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So duration is one important identification of sadness, whether it is coming from ideas or not.
Yes.
How one can come out of it? Just thinking, like, what is the so everybody of us experience sadness for that matter. So
yeah.
So how can one come out of it?
Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing that would kind of aid it is knowing that one is sad. Like, I guess the awareness that the sadness is there, especially I think physically, experiencing the sadness at the physiological domain. That's where maybe the journey could start of recognizing sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And identifying
so
it.
I guess you are proposing that there, when I look at my sadness, if I am just looking at it without further sadness about the sadness, or without further justification about the sadness. If I can just look at it. Are you meaning that? Are you meaning that?
Yeah, I mean the first, like to experience it as if, oh, okay, this is something that has come up and I am feeling sad about it. So it's becoming aware of it as if it's happening to you for the first time. Because I think that would be a transition. If you've been in that loop and that perception of sadness for so long and identifying with it, if one is identified, that would continue.
So what you are saying, what I'm trying to comprehend is that if one does not escape from sadness in any way, not trying to escape from sadness, then that sadness will have its own maturity.
Yeah, actually.
And dissolve.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't think of it that way.
Okay.
I didn't know. I didn't perceive it that way. But yes, I mean, yeah, if one is identifying with it, then one could try to escape it through stimulation, suppression of it. Yeah.
So I'm just looking at it without trying to escape or without trying to applaud that, wow, I need to, you get to hear from many people, I get to hear and share that, like, I'm at least a human being, I will be sad. So it's a justification that we establish, that, will I not be sad? I'm a human. So what does it mean? That's a justification. That's a justification of my sadness. So I'm neither making a justification nor I'm depressed about my sadness. That's actually not escaping. So escaping route could be through the depression, trying to suppress the sadness, and through the applauding also that we are human being, we are worth to be sad, or kind of stories that you make.
Yes.
So that's a kind of justification that we bring. So that also could be a route of escaping the progression of the sadness. Sadness is going to be dissolved otherwise.
Yeah. Actually, that brings to mind a similar thing where sadness is seen as, it has a motive. I mean, this is something that I've come across also, which for a long time I also was in, believing, but it could be a trap, in terms of trapping you in that sadness, because apparently it has a motive to fulfill.
And we imagine an entity out of a sadness.
Yeah.
And fragment it from the truth that it is harming me. Sadness as if has come to harm me, but it is my own creation.
Yeah.
That we don't identify at that time. Maybe. Are you meaning that?
Yeah, like, I mean, it could either be there to harm you or to benefit you, to reveal something. Yeah. And could be another perception altogether that could trap one in remaining sad and not, exploring it like further. So, yeah, I guess seeing it with fresh eyes, in a manner of speaking, and being curious of what situations apparently trigger this sadness. Like what is the source of that sadness? Like, where is it coming from? Is it like a relationship that's where one notices, or is it oneself, ideation about oneself that brings the sadness, or the source of the sadness? I mean, that could be looked into, like, where does it come from?
So when we are curious about the source, that time this hatred or the sadness for the sadness doesn't come, because I'm curious. And also the justification also doesn't come, because I'm curious. I'm trying to know further. I'm looking at it. I'm observing it keenly.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And I guess at that sort of that moment itself, one has in a way diverged from feeding into that sadness.
Yes.
When one is curious, one has sort of taken away energy from feeding, so to say, that particular sensation.
Yes.
And creating that reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things got revealed in this discussion. Thank you, Deepa, for initiating this understanding. So we'll continue our journey and exploring a lot of things, revealing newer facts, perhaps.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, this was quite revealing.